Yo, how are y'all doing? I am back, man. We have a lot to talk about. I've been gone for 2 days, and boxing had 2 tremendous shows on Saturday that I was not able to cover because I had a lot to do this weekend. But here we are. We're going to cover the fights. We had Oscar Valdez versus Emanuel Navarette, the battle of 2 Mexicans. Now, let me just say, before we talk about the results of the fight, that fight lived up to the hype. People were comparing it to Morales versus Barrera, and this fight was action-packed. To me, it was a fight of the year candidate. Oscar Valdez fought with one eye shut the whole fight. That being said, shout out to Emmanuel Navarette for picking up the biggest win of his career. It was a huge win for Emmanuel Navarette, a big win for Emmanuel Navarette. I'm proud of Emmanuel Navarette. He's now a 3-division champion, and he's shown that he's a great Mexican warrior. He's a great fighter, and the future is bright for Emmanuel Navarette. As for Oscar Valdez, he's taken a step backwards since he was undefeated. After that Shakur Stevenson loss, he's really been going the opposite way in his career. I think he's lost 2 of 3 fights, if I'm not mistaken, and it's back to the drawing board for Oscar Valdez. But if I were Oscar Valdez, he was crying after the fight. He looked very devastated. I would consider retirement. I mean, he got beat up really bad. He's made a lot of money in his career. He had a good career. I just don't know what's really next in terms of Oscar Valdez and trying to win like a belt and stuff like that. There's a lot of talk out there that Emmanuel Navarette should fight Shakur Stevenson next, the most avoided and the best lightweight in the world at a catchweight. I'm trying to tell people now that Shakur Stevenson is the best 135-pounder in the world, and he would smoke Emmanuel Navarette. Styles make fights. Emmanuel Navarette is an awkward fighter who's got some power, and he's lanky, so he was able to get to Oscar. He won't be able to do that with Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson has too good of a jab and his defense is too stellar. So it would be a very bad matchup for Emmanuel Navarette. But I hear a lot of people, particularly Mexican fans out there, calling for the Emmanuel Navarette versus Shakur Stevenson fight. Now, as we all know, Shakur Stevenson does not have an opponent right now. We don't know who he's going to fight next because everyone's scared of the best lightweight in the world. So he's really out there saying pretty much he'll take what he can get. So if Emmanuel Navarette is what's next, it's what's next. But Shakur Stevenson, no one wants to smoke with Shakur Stevenson. And in other boxing news, as you guys saw, Anthony Joshua took on Robert Helenius Saturday in London. And Robert Helenius took the fight on a 7-day notice and also had fought in the same week against a journeyman who he beat in 3 rounds, stopped him in 3 rounds. This was supposed to be a homecoming for Joshua. Joshua was supposed to knock Helenius out in the first 3 rounds and dominate and show Helenius, you have a 7-day notice, I'm a superstar, I'm coming. Instead, it was the total polar opposite. Robert Helenius came out and really took control of the fight the first 2-3 rounds. I had Joshua down 2 rounds to 1 in the first 3 rounds. It wasn't until around round 5 I saw Joshua start to pick up the pace. And Joshua scored a knockout in round 7, which is disgraceful considering Robert Helenius is a sparring partner and he took the fight on 7 days' notice. Joshua took 7 rounds to knock out Robert Helenius. It took Deontay Wilder 1 round to knock out Robert Helenius. They asked Anthony Joshua after the fight about Deontay Wilder, and he ran out the ring like a little chicken that he is. He wants no smoke with Deontay Wilder. He's scared of Deontay Wilder. If he fights Deontay Wilder, he's getting knocked out, and there's no question about it. But Eddie Hearn claims and swears that they're making a fight happen very soon for Saudi Arabia. So it sounds to me like, even though I know Anthony Joshua will get knocked out by Deontay Wilder, it sounds like we are going to have Joshua Wilder, Saudi Arabia, coming soon.